Do political parties ever reveal their entire truth to their followers? Let's delve into the darker aspects of one of India's major political parties, Bharatiya Janata Party, or BJP. Formed in 1980, the BJP is the principal component of the broader National Democratic Alliance. The party's ideology, an amalgamation of cultural nationalism and economic conservatism, has guided its journey from a minor player to a dominant force in Indian politics. BJP's rise to power has been nothing short of meteoric. From winning just 2 seats in the 1984 general elections to forming the government under Prime Minister Narendra Modi in 2014 and again in 2019. Today, the BJP stands tall as the world's largest political party by primary membership. But the journey has been far from smooth. As we peel back the layers, we will explore the less publicized aspects of BJP. BJP, like any other political party, has been part of controversies. Let's explore some of the policies that sparked debates. One policy that has been a major point of contention is the Citizenship Amendment Act, or CAA. Implemented in December 2019, this act fast-tracks citizenship for refugees from certain religious minorities in Afghanistan, Bangladesh, and Pakistan, who arrived in India prior to 2014. While the BJP government asserts that this act is a humanitarian gesture towards persecuted minorities, critics argue that it discriminates against Muslims and undermines India's secular constitution. The National Register of Citizens, or NRC, is another controversial policy. Originally implemented in the state of Assam to identify illegal immigrants, the BJP has proposed extending it nationwide. The NRC requires people to provide documentary evidence of their ancestry dating back several decades, which can be a challenge for many, especially the poor and marginalized who might lack such documentation. Critics argue that it could potentially render millions of people stateless. Supporters of these policies argue that they are necessary to protect India's national security and cultural identity. They assert that the CAA helps protect religious minorities who face persecution in neighboring countries, and that the NRC is an essential tool to identify and deport illegal immigrants. However, these policies have also sparked widespread protests across the country. Critics argue that they undermine India's secular constitution and could potentially lead to large-scale disenfranchisement of citizens, particularly Muslims and marginalized communities. They express concerns about the potential for misuse of these policies to target certain communities. While these policies have their supporters, they've also attracted substantial criticism and protests. Accusations of discrimination have often been levied against BJP. What's the story behind them? Let's delve into it. The Bharatiya Janata Party, or BJP as it's commonly known, has faced significant criticism over allegations of religious and social discrimination. A significant portion of this criticism is rooted in the party's perceived alignment with Hindutva, an ideology that seeks to establish the hegemony of Hindu culture. Critics argue that this alignment has resulted in policies and rhetoric that disadvantage religious minorities in India. One of the most significant issues that have arisen in this context is communal tension, often erupting into violence. Critics allege that the BJP's rhetoric and policies have fostered an environment where such incidents are more likely to occur. They cite instances of violence against religious minorities, particularly Muslims, and argue that the frequency and intensity of these incidents have increased under BJP-led governments. In addition to religious discrimination, the BJP has also been accused of social discrimination. Critics argue that the party's policies disproportionately impact lower caste communities and other marginalized groups. They point to instances of violence and discrimination against these groups, alleging that the BJP's policies and rhetoric have contributed to an environment where such incidents are more likely to occur. It's important to note that these allegations are part of a broader debate about the nature of the BJP's ideology and its impact on Indian society. Supporters of the party argue that its policies are aimed at promoting cultural unity and national identity rather than fostering discrimination. They contend that any incidents of violence or discrimination are the actions of fringe elements, not reflective of the party's overall approach or ideology. However, the critics remain skeptical, arguing that, regardless of intent, the party's actions and rhetoric have real-world impacts that disproportionately affect religious and social minorities. These allegations have been a point of contention, stirring up debates on the party's ideology. As we continue to examine the BJP, it's essential to consider these criticisms and the broader questions they raise about the party's role in shaping India's social fabric. Economic policies are a major part of a political party's identity. How has BJP fared in this regard? As we delve into the economic policies of the Bharatiya Janata Party, or BJP, two key initiatives stand out: demonetization and the implementation of the Goods and Services Tax, commonly known as GST. Introduced in November of 2016, demonetization was a sudden and sweeping move that invalidated 86% of the country's circulating currency. The BJP government presented this policy as a strike against black money and corruption. However, critics argued that it caused significant disruption to India's economy and hardship for its citizens, especially those in the informal sector. The long-term benefits of this policy remain a topic of debate, with many economists suggesting that the pain outweighed the gains. Next, let's talk about the Goods and Services Tax. Launched in July of 2017, GST was touted as a one nation, one tax reform aimed at simplifying the taxation process and boosting economic growth. But its implementation was marred by technical glitches and policy uncertainty. Small businesses in particular struggled to adapt to the new tax regime, leading to widespread criticism. Furthermore, the complexity of the tax slabs and the lack of preparedness were points of contention among economists and industry experts. Both these policies show the BJP's willingness to make bold economic moves. However, the execution and impact of these policies have been a source of controversy and criticism. It's important to remember that while economic policies can drive growth, they can also lead to unintended consequences if not properly planned and implemented. Economic policies, while aimed at growth, have also been a source of controversy for BJP. A free press is the backbone of a democracy. But what happens when this freedom is allegedly compromised? This brings us to the allegations of media control that have been levied against the BJP. In any democratic country, the media's role is to question the government, to hold them accountable, and to ensure that the voice of the people is heard. However, there have been numerous instances where the BJP has been accused of suppressing dissent and controlling the narrative within the media. These allegations, if true, could potentially undermine the very essence of democracy. Critics argue that the BJP has been subtly influencing the media, shaping the narrative to their advantage. They allege that dissenting voices are silenced, and that journalists who question the party's actions face repercussions. This, they claim, has resulted in a climate of fear and self-censorship within the media. Moreover, there are claims of government interference in the functioning of independent news channels. It's alleged that channels critical of the government face regulatory hurdles, making it difficult for them to operate freely. These allegations of media control paint a worrying picture. They suggest an erosion of the free press, a pillar of democracy, and point to an environment where dissent is discouraged. However, it's important to note that these are allegations. The BJP denies these claims, stating that they respect the role of the media in a democratic society. They assert that the media in India is as vibrant and free as it has ever been. As we delve deeper into these allegations, we are left with more questions than answers. Is the media in India truly free? Or is it being manipulated to serve the interests of those in power? the question of media control continues to hover over BJP, raising concerns about the state of democracy in India. Political parties are complex entities with multiple facets. BJP is no exception. Throughout this discussion, we've delved into various aspects of the party, shedding light on the controversies and criticisms it has faced. We've explored their policies, both controversial and economic, and their alleged discriminatory practices. We also touched upon the allegations of media control that surround the party. It's crucial to note here that the intention of this discourse is not to defame or vilify the BJP. Rather, it is to provide a balanced view, an impartial look at the party in its entirety. It's about understanding that every political party, including the BJP, has its strengths and weaknesses, its achievements, and its controversies. The objective here is to foster a sense of informed decision-making. To be an active participant in a democracy, it's essential to understand not just the bright, but also the darker aspects of the parties we choose to support. We must remember that criticism and scrutiny are integral parts of a healthy democracy. In conclusion, it's about striking a balance between appreciation and criticism, about understanding that no party is without flaws, and making informed decisions based on comprehensive knowledge. In the end, it's important to remember that understanding the darker aspects of a political party is as crucial as knowing its achievements. It fosters informed decision-making, a key aspect of a thriving democracy.